It's time to talk sports. It's Hacksaw's Headlines, a panorama of the world of sports, stories, comments, and opinions. Now, here's iconic sports talk show host Lee Hacksaw Hamilton and co-host John Riley.
Who wants to talk sports on a Thursday? We do, you do. From the Dixieline Lumber and Home Center studios in San Diego, heading towards a great sports weekend, we welcome you to our Thursday podcast, Hacksaw's Headlines. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, along with my co-host, John Riley. It's hotter than hell outside. It is going to be red hot on the baseball field this weekend. We welcome you to this podcast, brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. If you've got ideas for projects summer into the fall, you're going to need materials. Maybe you want help. Maybe you need a consultant, an architect, an idea. Think Dixieline Lumber. Go to dixieline.com for all the things they have to offer. 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Nice baseball cap. I guess you're amped. Playoffs, baby.
The tide has turned in the National League West, Lee.
PENROSE, baby.
Yeah, here we go.
Oh, I can't wait. Is it Friday yet? Game time?
Yeah, really, exactly.
We're going to go a lot of different directions on this podcast, but baseball will be front and center, and then we're going to cover NFL football. We got some really intriguing college football stuff to talk about. We'll be going across the board, a lot of different topics on the table, because we do sports talk on this podcast the way this podcast should be done. We put topics on the table. Then when we're done, we go to what we call Fans Forum. John, describe how everybody who is a viewer on live stream can jump on board and be a co-host at the end in the Fans Forum chat box.
All right, yeah, so here's your chance to get involved. You have a question or comment in the world of sports for Hacksaw, drop your take in the live chat. And I see Roberto, the practicing guitarist, and Saucy James are already involved. These guys piled in before we hit the go live button. So, hey, if you got a question in the world of sports for Hacksaw, just put drop your take in the live chat. X, YouTube, Facebook will get you involved.
A couple of other business items before we go at each other. If you like sports, you need to read my website. Check it out. I write on it every day. It's there first thing in the morning. Just go to leehacksawhamilton.com. Trust me, you won't find the volume of information that I write about anywhere else. Not in your newspaper, not on other websites. Just go to leehacksawhamilton.com. Also, you can join my insiders group. You register right there. There's an orange box on the homepage. Just fill it out. You'll get on the email list. We send out 2 special emails per day on the insiders group. If you like sports, want you to join me on social media. Become part of my Twitter all-star team on X. Just type in my name, at Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, or at Hacksaw 1090. Hit the follow button. That way you'll be able to participate in all the Hacksaw mini polls, because I do ask a lot of pointed questions on social media. We want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe, you'll get the automatic alerts every time we put something up on the YouTube channel. We put 5 to 10 videos every week on the YouTube channel. Thereby, you will get all the alerts there. You can help us grow this thing. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a 5-star rating. Hit the follow button. Want you to be part of our team every day of the week. I covered it all, did I not?
Dude, you are a fire hose of sports content, man. It just keeps coming.
And we're going a lot of different directions. Let's get started, and we're going to talk pennant race, baby.
Yeah, the Padres-Dodgers race, man. The thing is flipped on its head.
So this is the only way to describe Padre-Dodger baseball going to the Friday, Saturday, Sunday series in Los Angeles. One has a stacked pitching staff, that is LA. The other has a gold star bullpen, that is San Diego. One's got a front office that's been ultra aggressive. The other's got a front office that seems to be really hesitant. One's got a firebrand manager that knows how to push the buttons. And I tend to think Mike Schultz's baseball IQ is through the charts right now. The other's a very conservative Dave Roberts that does not seem to have any answers whatsoever. This is going to be so interesting. The Padres have won 14 of their last 17. At one point, they were 9 games out on July 3rd. They're now 1 game ahead. The Padres have made up 10 games in the standings in 35 days. The Padres are in first place at this hour. Can you believe that? The Dodgers are in a free fall. lots of explanations, not excuses, but explanations. The Dodgers, with a $383 million payroll, are 12-21 since July 3rd. Think about that statistic. The Padres are dangerous. The Padres are complete. The Padres have impact players. And the trade deadline acquisitions of Laureano in left field, O'Hearn as a DH and a first baseman, and Fermin at catcher have just been huge in terms of completing the batting order. And the bullpen is now called a six-pack. They are so deep and so dynamic, and they all throw the hell out of the ball. This is a unique combination that's come together. And the Padres are gamers. Padres are ballers. The Padres play on the edge. Like I say, they are aggressive, ball in play, unbelievable defense, run the hell out of the bases, and they put down, from fundamental standpoints, drag bunts, squeeze bunts, hit and run bunts. It's absolutely amazing the way the Padres are playing baseball, and nobody seems to have a way to handle it. Intellectually, I've never seen Padre baseball this good, this complete a team right now. Big-time baseball IQ. The Dodgers, they're really staggering, and they seem to have no answers at all. They've not found any consistent help in the batting order for Ohtani. He is hitting home runs, but he's not hitting for average. Freddie Freeman's been dinged, and he's not hitting the 320s that he was hitting early. Betts has started to come back, but you just never know. Mookie's had some really bad spells. Teoscar Hernandez now is not the Teoscar Hernandez of a year ago, and that's got to be a concern to the Dodgers. And the one intangible, guys off the bench, guys who made a big difference last year, aren't there. Tommy Edmonds on the DL for the third time this season with ongoing foot and ankle injuries. There is no Chris Taylor. Kike Hernandez is not what he was before, and he has been consistently hurt. And Michael Conforto is a $17 million black hole in left field who is a real anchor, and they have nobody to replace these guys. Now, that being said, stacked staff, as I mentioned. Just look at these ERAs of this rotation going to this weekend series with the Padres. Blake Snell, 2.37. Glasnow, 3.08. Ohtani, 2.45. Kershaw, 3.14. Yamamoto, with a couple of bad outings, still at 2.51. And the kid Emmett Sheehan, the occasional starter, 3.10. That's the strength. The bullpen is a disaster. The Padre bullpen is in decline. They've gone through 25 relief pitchers this season. They have 23 blown saves. The bullpen has given up 71 home runs this season, and the collective bullpen has an ERA now of 4.35. They've blown 5 saves in the last 7 games. The Dodger bullpen has. And they've had 21 pitchers now on the disabled list this season, and they seem to have no answers whatsoever. Whereas A.J. Preller made all those bold trades, and yes, he maxed out his credit card, traded the whole farm system away to put a complete team on the field for this 3-game series and the 3 in San Diego next weekend. Andrew Friedman did virtually nothing at the deadline. And when he got a relief pitcher got hurt, and he's on the DL now too. Andrew Friedman, though, goes public, gives a vote of confidence to Dave Roberts, gives a vote of confidence to Mark Pryor, gives a vote of confidence that the Stars will bring us back, because there is still a month and a half to go in the baseball season. No criticism of anybody in the Dodger dugout, the Dodger clubhouse, or from the Dodger leadership standpoint. I do think the organization still has a massive problem mishandling of young pitchers. How can you have as many pitchers get hurt as they had last year, even though they won the World Series, as they have this year right now? And as we sit here getting ready for Friday night, there is no Tanner Scott, there is no Kirby Yates, there is no Michael Kopech, and now Brusdar Graterol has suffered another setback and is now gone for the rest of the Dodgers season. Roki Sasaki is about to begin rehab assignments with the hope maybe by September 15th, if there's no setbacks there, he'll be ready to pitch. You tell me. The Dodgers' public pronouncement is, it's too early to be scoreboard watching. Hey, dude, you had a 9-game lead and it's gone. Hey, dude, your team is no longer what it used to be. hey, dude, you're in second place looking at the guy who's blown by you in first place that's playing complete baseball right now. And here come the fans. And there's a new tradition at Dodger Stadium. You know, the old tradition was show up late, leave early. Third tradition now, boo. That's what's happening at Dodger Stadium. They're booing their own team. I would have never, ever imagined this year that I'd ever see a Dodger team go 12-21. That's the stretch of games they've played since mid-July. And I never thought I'd see Dodger fan boo the home team. And that's happened a lot. And by the way, I think there'll be a lot of brown and gold at Chavez Ravine come Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I end my thesis. That's my presentation. Judge, jury, respond.
Does anyone have any questions? So first of all, it's the Padres are in first place. This is fantastic. You know, we've been moaning and groaning all throughout the spring about the Padres, you know, not playing up to expectations, couldn't hit, and now everything is going right. Like even in the Giants game yesterday during the day, in that second inning when they scored 7, you know, there was 1 out, bases loaded. Cronenworth comes up and he hits this routine 1-hopper to the shortstop Adames for a double play to end the inning, but it hits the bag and it goes into shallow left center and everyone's running and scoring and the floodgates open. And
7 runs later, it was over and the Giants quit on Bob Melvin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Padre Twitter is just kind of gleefully like pointing the finger at Bob Melvin right now. But it's like everything's coming around, you know, and it's cool the way A.J. Preller, you know, we're kind of accustomed to him not just making a splash at the deadline, but often getting the big name like Juan Soto or someone. Well, this time he got a lot of those complimentary pieces. You know, the big name was Mason Miller, but this Ramon Laureano kid, I mean, you talk about baseball IQ. This guy is off the charts. And now just by filling in that bottom third of the order, you know, or 6 through 9.
The whole bleeping lineup is dangerous.
Everything changes. Yes. I mean, it's unbelievable. And you know, the Furminator is a big upgrade over Martin Maldonado. Bless his heart. I know everyone, you know, the pitchers liked him. Everything just seems to be going the Padres' way. I just hope this isn't like, you know, they're peaking too soon.
No, they've pushed the boulder up the hill to the top because they're in first place now. They had to do this to get there. Now the question is, are they going to kick the Dodgers down the slope and then roll the boulder over them and end this thing? I'm not saying pennant race, pennant, we own it. No. Because there's a month and a half to go, and you're still got to play these guys.
Wait, we can't schedule the parade yet? Come on.
Not. But they're at this point.
Yeah.
Who could have thought? I swear to God, there's nobody that could get on Fans Forum and say, we knew this was going to happen. Because when they were 9 back and they had flaws everywhere and the pitching staff was hurt, you couldn't have perceived that this would happen. So here we come, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Fans Forum chat box should be overwhelmed. On the left side, anybody wearing brown and gold. On the right side, anybody wearing Dodger blue. Jump on board. We want to hear what you got to say. Pros, cons, good, bad, whatever. Are we cheerleading? No, we're excited. I love pennant race baseball. This is going to be magnificent this weekend, and then we'll duplicate it next weekend.
Well,
down in
doesn't
San
it
Diego.
seem like the Dodgers pitching injuries are finally catching up with them?
I think so.
You know, because they were winning in spite of their terrible pitching. Now the terrible pitching is biting them in the butt. Now the question is, can all those really good, talented guys come back to form in the next 6 weeks? And I mean, Padres, like you say, they need to see if they can push the Dodgers down the standings. I mean, this is an opportunity to kind of put them away to a degree because they're going to be dangerous at the end of the season.
Well, remember, Dodgers are going to play some really bad teams once they're done with the Padres. So the Padres need to dominate these next 6 games of this series and control it, because these guys are going to play the Rockies and these guys are going to play Arizona. These guys are going to play the Giants again. I mean, so the Dodgers are going to stack some wins against really bad teams. The thing is, now we got first, now we got second. And I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I told you so. Did I not have a headline?
Nobody likes an I told you so.
Did I not post a headline maybe a month ago, and all the conversation we had about the Dodgers and the good and the bad and the ugly and what was happening, did we not use the phrase Dodgers on borrowed time? Question mark.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've used a lot of different phrases throughout the season, and it's the Dodger way. What happened to the Dodger way? I mean, Tommy Edman's a hell of a player. I mean, that's another big link. I mean, he's like the Swiss Army knife of that lineup.
I just mentioned it. One of the things that's not there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. Is Mookie? Do you trust that Mookie and Shohei are kind of coming back? Because they showed some glimpses in that Blue Jays series.
Well, Mookie had himself a good week. We'll see if that can be duplicated if that goes forward. Ohtani, he's hitting some rocket shots, but he's not hitting for average whatsoever. Outside of Will Smith, there's really no consistency in that batting order. So that's all things Padres, all things Dodgers. You're on this side of the street, brown and gold. That side of the street, Dodger blue. Fans Forum chat box is open. Oh, we're gonna touch a real nerve here. Next topic on the table.
Okay, this guy keeps getting in trouble. Shohei Ohtani.
So who do you believe? Who do you blame? We're talking about Ohtani, and we're talking about his agent, Nez Balolo. Huge question mark. We've had a lengthy conversation about Ohtani and his personal aid, IP Mizuhara, the $17 million missing money, gambling addictions, theft, identity theft. Mizuhara, by the way, is in a penitentiary in Pennsylvania and is going to be deported out of here to Japan as soon as his 3.5-year prison sentence is over. Ohtani was of the opinion, I did not know. Now we have another incident. Ohtani, through his agent, did a marketing deal with a rich consortium of land developers on the Big Island of Hawaii to build $7 million mansions to be sold, and Ohtani was going to be the front marketing piece. Massive lawsuit on Wednesday filed against Ohtani and against the agent by the two guys that created this consortium to build this $240 million project on the Big Island. And they say that Balolo, the agent of the player, led a drive to get the two guys who created this thing evicted, removed from the operation. And It's cost them a ton of money. And so they have filed a massive lawsuit against the agent and against Ohtani. Ohtani has not addressed it whatsoever. Balolo has not addressed it whatsoever. But they're burning questions. What is the responsibility of the agent? This agent said he knew nothing about the Mizuhara bank fraud and the $17 million in missing money. This agent has refused to respond to this piece of litigation in Hawaii. He's hired by CAA, Creative Arts Agency, which represents a ton of ball players and a ton of entertainers. So what do you believe? So Ohtani, an innocent victim of everything his agent's doing? What's the responsibility of the superstar player who has such a sterling reputation? What's his responsibility to ferret out who is representing him and what they stand for? Because now we've had two significant issues involving him personally in a 6-month span. Nobody's implicated Ohtani in anything wrongdoing with Mizuhara except the fact he didn't pay attention. And Ohtani's not talked about this, but he was the front man and he met with these people. It's an amazing story. So now we've had two major crisis incidents with the superstar in a 6-month span. So do you no longer trust Ohtani in decision-making, or just not trust the agent, what he represents? Because he's been the point man for everything Ohtani's done in business, in baseball, and in marketing. Ohtani, by the way, gets over $100 million in sponsorships and endorsements per year, aside from his baseball salary, because that guy's his point man. So, John, what do you believe is fact? What do you believe is fiction?
Well, a couple of things. First of all, it's like fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, shame on you, right? So we were willing, some of us were willing to take a little bit of a benefit of the doubt with the Ippei Mizuhara crisis and if Ohtani was in the gambling. But now this is another case. So is Ohtani just naive? Is he too trusting in these business people, which are really sound like scammers? Is he putting too much trust into other people? This is crazy. I mean, it's now making Ohtani's character is now in question.
He's consumed with baseball, and maybe he has to be consumed with baseball being a two-position player. and is consumed with raising a family? Is he not paying any attention to his business side of his life, which includes an enormous amount of revenue streams coming in? And what's it say about the agent?
Yeah, it is curious. Now, you said, I don't know, maybe you misspoke, but I thought I heard you say that the agent didn't know about the Ippei Mizuhara gambling. I mean, the whole world knew about that.
Well, that was after the fact.
Oh, he didn't know about it as it was going on.
Supposedly. He didn't know about the transfer of money. Since when do agents are not aware of what's going on with the players' bank accounts?
Well, they probably aren't keeping track of the bank statement and all the transfers. Like, you know, Mizuhara was in there every day.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little bit of a different thing, but I don't know. I'm now kind of getting suspicious because, you know, Ohtani presents this smiling face. Everybody likes me. I've got a cute dog and a beautiful wife, and I'm the superstar. But he keeps getting into the muck here. So it's almost like is there like a second, he has a whole second life? And it makes me wonder, why in the hell is he putting his name on a housing development in the Big Island? I mean, it seems like obviously money talks, but that's just an unnecessary distraction during the baseball season.
Marketing. Revenue stream.
Yeah.
The name sells. The Hawaiian Consortium on the Big Island did a contract where he gets paid, and their sales pitching all those rich people in Japan come buy a $7 million mansion on the Big Island. Part of this relationship, Ohtani, by the way, is going to live there in the offseason.
The Ohtani mansions. Yeah, you'll be his best friend, his neighbor. You'll play pickleball with Ohtani.
It's just an absolute, to me, it's an absolutely stunning story. This has happened second time in 6 months. You got an opinion, feel free. Join us. Fans Forum chat box is open. We're not done with baseball because there's other games being played and there's still pennant races in other cities. And wow, what's going on in a couple of different spots.
Yeah, here are two teams red hot right now.
Let's talk about Bernie Brewer. Let's talk about the M's. Let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers and the Seattle Mariners. Could you imagine if they wound up in the World Series? What a shocker that would be. Of course, the Padres wound up in the World Series playing their spring training partners, the Mariners. How weird would that be?
Eddie had the Vetter Cup in the World Series.
Yeah. Anyhow, let's talk about the Brewers and the Mariners. Nobody saw this coming. I mean, this is a Milwaukee team that was good, lost all of its pitching, notably Corbin Burns, Brandon Woodruff, more than anybody else. All those guys gone. Major injuries, free agency, etc. Had Christian Yelich. And then slowly but surely, they started to build around him. And the young kids came, led by Jackson Chourio. And now you look at what the Brewers are. They are 76-44. They've won 12 in a row. The Brew Crew is on a 15-1 binge. Wins right now. Pat Murphy, the manager, who failed here as an interim manager, acted like he didn't want the job, didn't want to be here, and then was allowed to leave, goes to Milwaukee, works under Craig Counsell, whom he coached at Notre Dame. Counsell leaves to go to Wrigleyville. Pat Murphy gets elevated, and holy cow, you're talking about smart guy pushing all the right buttons. And his front office, led by former general manager David Stearns, who's now gone, man, they put a lot of good players in place. And they're doing it with everybody hits, and they're doing a lot of young pitching. And the most heartwarming thing is Brandon Woodruff, who was an ace of the staff and underwent 2 surgeries, was out more than 2+ years, like 600 days. He's come back, and I think he's unbeaten. I think he's 3-0 since coming off the DL. I mean, this is a really interesting Milwaukee Brewers team. And then there's the Mariners. Now, if A.J. Preller is a lunatic, then Jerry Dipoto is a madman, because Dipoto must have drank from the same Kool-Aid as Preller. He just keeps making trades and deals and never stops. He's an ultimate wheeler dealer. He's got himself a really good team. And Seattle's there. They're on an 11-2 streak right now, and they're trying to pull away from what would be a Houston Astros team, and they're bloody hot too. They are 6 deep in the starting pitching, and then for 2 years, they had Julio Rodriguez against the world. They didn't have a lot of hitting around him. And then J.P. Crawford became a hitting shortstop. And then at the trade deadline, they added Eugenio Suarez, Josh Naylor, and suddenly Seattle's a really deep, really dangerous team who can sting you with the long ball. And by the way, they got 6 starters they can run at you. I mean, these two teams are the stunners, the surprises. Whereas the Yankees have been wiped out by injuries. The Mets never had enough pitching. Atlanta was destroyed before they ever got out of spring training. And look who's at the top of the standings. The Padres, the Mariners, the Milwaukee Brewers. You tell me you had that on your bingo card. I'll tell you you're a liar. But go ahead, John, talk about the red-hot baseball teams.
Is it interesting, though, how Seattle Mariners and the Milwaukee Brewers are sort of on that northern end of the United States border up there, and they kind of quietly do their business. Yeah. And a lot of times they quietly don't impress anybody. But right now, yeah, they're red hot. I mean, and think about this. If the Mariners, the Brewers, or the Padres, those are three teams that have never won a World Series.
Cactus League cousins.
They are. So maybe like one of them will break through, which I think would be a great thing for those fans in those communities. But, you know, I have a friend of mine is from Milwaukee, and so we're always texting back and forth. And he loves his Brewers and his Bucks and his Packers, right? But the Brewers, they seem to make the playoffs, I don't know, 3 out of every 4 years. And they usually lose in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, but who else is on the Mariners, by the way, who you didn't mention was Randy Arozarena.
Sure.
And he's having a hell of a year too.
That's another Dipoto acquisition a year ago.
Yeah. So it's both of these squads. I'm really happy for them. I'm trying to think of the other teams that have not won a World Series besides these two and the Padres. I think maybe the Rockies, and I think there's like one other team. So it'd be nice if one of these guys breaks through.
Well, we still got 6 weeks of baseball to be played, but I'll tell you, aside from what the Padres are doing, we're paying all of our attention there. What Seattle and what Milwaukee have done, absolutely amazing. Hey, we are at halftime. I told you there'd be a lot of topics on the table. Halftime brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Just a reminder, does not matter what the project is, whether it's doors, whether it's windows, whether you're going to renovate the kitchen, you want to do something with shelves and closets in the bedroom, you want to renovate and give a new look to the bathrooms, Dixieline can take care of you. You might be Mr. Johnny Fix-It. They got a tool display that'll knock your socks off. Dixieline Lumber, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. Dixieline Lumber. John, they check off an awful lot of the boxes for the people in Southern California.
Oh, yeah. We're just showing some of the tools right here on the screen. And yeah, if you need power tools, hand tools, you need accessories, you got to get new blades for your circular saw. They've got it all there at Dixieline Lumber. So they're like your neighborhood hardware store, but they really specialize in offering products and services for homeowners, builders, and contractors.
Just go to Dixieline.com, see all the things they have to offer. Dixieline, been here for more than 100 years, your trusted partner when it comes time for home projects, home renovations. Build it, fix it. We guarantee you'll enjoy it at Dixieline Lumber. This podcast, we're going to the second half. Just a reminder, if you like sports, you need to check my website, LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I write on it every day of the week. It's there first thing in the morning. You give me 5 minutes. I'll give you every story there is in the world of sports. Check it out on a daily basis. I want you to become part of Hacksaw's Insiders Group. You'll get on my email list. You can register for that on the homepage of the website. We want you to share. Tell everybody what we do Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. Subscribe. When you subscribe on the YouTube channel, you will get the alerts, ding, 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 every time we put new videos up on the YouTube channel. And we put 5 to 7 to 10 videos every week, in addition to the podcast up on the YouTube channel. So lots of different ways for you to join us. You're on social media. I want you to join my Twitter All-Star team at Hacksaw1090, or just type in my name, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, hit the follow button. That way you'll be able to participate in all the different fans forum, fans mini polls that I ask people pointed questions. And of course, when we're done with topics on the table, because we do sports talk the way it should be done, when we're done, you're taking over this podcast. John, these people are just pouring into the fans forum chat box. So how does this work for somebody who might be new, who's never done this before?
Yeah, if you're new, you got a question for this guy, for Hacksaw.
Or you got a critique of the way this guy dresses.
You can critique me if you like, but it's all about him. So if you have a question, drop your question or comment in the live chat on YouTube, on X, or on Facebook. YouTube is usually the better one to do it. And besides, you can use the super chat feature, that little $sign, if you'd like to make a donation. So that's on you. But we welcome your thoughts and comments, and people are got all kinds of Padre-Dodger smack talk going on. Little Angels, Chargers mixed in already.
We're going a lot of different directions. That's halftime. Let's move to the second half. A little bit different topic on the table. I'm going to hit a nerve, hit a hot button here. We're going to talk a little Aztecs.
Yeah, Aztec football, and everyone's getting ready for this new season.
San Diego State. Now they got the red-black scrimmage is Thursday night at Snapdragon Stadium. 2 weeks from tonight, they open the season at home. Second-year coach Sean Lewis hitting the reset button after a tough 3-9 season. There's just a lot of storylines here. He has just named his new starting quarterback. It's Jaden Denegal, 6'4" thrower from the University of Michigan. He was there for 3 years, hardly ever played. He was a backup quarterback to J.J. McCarthy. Opted out. He's got 2 years of eligibility, comes to San Diego State. Big, strong, a thrower. But until you've done it, you haven't done it yet. We'll find out, though, because I think at this level, with this offense, if they put the right people around him, I think he'll do well. The one thing is he practiced a lot in the Harbaugh offense. He got a lot of hard coaching, and he practiced against a visionary Michigan defense. So this kid should not be shocked by anything he's going to see at the Mountain West Conference level. So Jaden Denegal is the starter. Bert Emanuel, transfer from Central Michigan, more run than throw, is going to be the backup quarterback. They're going to put specific packages in there for him to run as part of the offense. In fact, there may be times when both quarterbacks are going to be on the field at the same time. The most stunning thing to me, and I went back, took a lot of time to do the research. Do you know in the last 2 years, since Sean Lewis came, they had 9 different quarterbacks on the roster in 2 years. 9. Guys coming in, guys going out, guys showing up, guys not fitting, guys exiting. And Danny O'Neill, who came, was given a starting job, earned it. They poured a lot of resources in. They walked away and went to the University of Wisconsin. 9 quarterbacks in a 2-year span. I mean, it's absolutely amazing where the Aztecs are right now with this quarterback situation. Do you know that from 2012 to 2023, San Diego State's had 17 quarterbacks in 12 years? 17. None of them, they all played. None of them was a marquee guy, like I'm an all-conference guy.
Right.
None of them were big names. I mean, think about this. Julian Maiden, who was a safety, became a quarterback. Blake Burmeister, who came from Virginia Tech and got hurt. Hot recruit Will Haskell, here today, gone tomorrow. Lucas Johnson, same story. Carson Baker started, managed games. Christian Chapman started, managed games. They did win some games with him there. Maxwell Smith transfer, Quinn Kohler transfer, Ryan Katz transfer. 17 different starting quarterbacks in a 12-year span at San Diego State. They've just been unable to get the job done. So, John, new season, new quarterback. Just off the top of your head, give me your thoughts.
Well, I'm always optimistic, right at this time of the year. Hopefully they get off to a good start. Who are they playing in the first game? It's like Stony Brook, right?
University of Stony Brook, Long Island.
Okay.
Who?
Yeah,
Why?
who? Yeah, but I see it's on local TV too, which is kind of cool. But you say they had 9 quarterbacks over the last 2 years, but those are like 4th and 5th string guys that like never saw the light of day. And, with the transfer portal, they're out of here. Right. And then you figure during that time frame, what was it, 2012 to 23, and they went through 17 quarterbacks. And that was when it was Rocky Long and always wanted to run it, so they probably had passing quarterbacks that didn't get to throw that much. So, hopefully this works out. I mean, it sounds promising. Like you say, this Denegal kid who came from Michigan, who practiced against that world-class defense for the Wolverines. Hey, maybe lightning will strike.
Big time physical talent. It's got to do it on the field. Schedule's tough. Road schedule's kind of tough, but they do get Boise State here. Fascinating. We're all giving Sean Lewis a chance to hit the reset button. This is a clean piece of paper. We'll see if this offense will be better than last year's offense, which was really a disappointment, really miserable. So that's one topic as it relates to the Aztecs. I'm going to tell you something about San Diego State football that you've probably forgotten. Let's go to the next topic. The legacy of Aztec football. I just want you to look at this board of all the great quarterbacks they've had in the past. They have not had greatness at quarterback since the era of Ryan Lindley, who rewrote the entire record book, finishing up in 2011, and before him, Kevin O'Connell, who wrote a lot of records himself. In his 4 years, it ended in 2007. Look at Lindley, 12,690 yards passing, 90 touchdowns, and Kevin O'Connell run and throw nearly 9,000 yards and 65 touchdowns. And prior to those guys, there have been some really good seasons with Aztec quarterbacks. I mean, if you just look at Todd Santos, 70 touchdowns, Billy Blanton, 67, Dan McGuire, who transferred here from Iowa, threw for 43 touchdowns, David Lowry, who was the Mad Bomber in the Marshall Faulk era, Tim Gutierrez, who came from the JC ranks, threw for 36. These are all quarterbacks from 1980s, late 80s, into the 2000s. And in the bottom listing, look at all these guys from the Air Coryell era who were here. Brian Sipe, who threw 44 touchdowns coming from the JUCO ranks. Dennis Shaw, who threw 39 touchdowns in one season and went to the AFL Buffalo Bills. Matt Keffler was here for a couple of years, threw touchdowns. Mark HALDA threw a bunch of touchdown passes. And way back in the day, Craig Penrose, who went to the Denver Broncos, and Jesse Freitas, who was a JUCO passing star. I mean, their legacy of great quarterbacks going from the 60s with Coryell up until the mid-1990s, not bad. And then O'Connell and Lindley rewrote the entire record book. We're in San Diego. History of throwing the freaking football. And they've not been able to recruit quarterbacks since O'Connell and Lindley. To me, that's absolutely stunning considering the history of Aztec football.
Yeah, it's an interesting list to look at. Like I like a couple of names on there that catch my attention. First of all, Dan McGuire is Mark McGuire's brother. And I remember when you were broadcasting for the Aztecs, I went to that Marshall Faulk era game against the University of Miami.
Yep.
And there was did it end in a tie or an Aztec loss? But it was a really exciting game.
Aztec lost and missed field goal.
Oh, that's what it was.
But they tied Southern Cal, they tied UCLA, they tied Brigham Young, and in every game it's San Diego State in that era was shootouts.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible time. I mean, you must have been on fire during that whole process. But I look at these other names, and I remember David Lowry. I remember he was a very serviceable guy. To your point, it was Christian. Who was the one you said? It was Christian, the other quarterback for the Aztecs.
Which one?
But you didn't list him here, but it was a guy that had some success about 10 years ago. I can't remember, but at any rate, the other name on this list, Brian Sipe. To me, Brian Sipe is the name that I connect with having the greatest NFL career of any of them.
Cleveland Browns.
Yes. So, but when he was with the Aztecs, it sounds like he was good, but not great. But maybe his career went to another level in the NFL.
Well, he was only here for a year and a half. He threw 44 touchdowns in a year and a half.
That's good.
Yeah. So, but such a legacy, and they haven't been able to recruit quarterbacks. I mean, you go through the list of names of guys that were here that did absolutely nothing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and, last year when we had, what was his name? Jalen Mabin.
Yes, the safety.
The safety. And it was a fun story with him. And he had a few moments at quarterback. You're thinking, hey, maybe this will work out. And then the other one, Lucas Johnson, because I think he went to Rancho Penasquitos. He went to Georgia Tech for a while. And when he was going to be a quarterback, I thought, hey, okay, this guy was supposed to come to the Aztecs originally. So I don't know, there is a legacy here. I mean, that's a legit list. And, it's funny too, how Kevin O'Connell has risen to become an NFL head coach, but Ryan Lindley doesn't seem to have as much success in the coaching.
Well, he moved around. He was a Mike Leach protege. He was with Mike Leach in the Southeastern Conference. Ryan is now as an offensive guru for Sean Lewis.
Yeah, he's the offensive coordinator, right?
Or he's not the coordinator, but he is offensive consultant. I mean, he does a lot of the grunt work, video work, etc.
Well, good for him. Well, it's nice to see him still involved.
No, I mean, Lindley and O'Connell have both done very well for themselves post-Aztec career. Okay, you're into San Diego State football. We're touching a lot of different angles to where they are right now and where they came from and why can't they get back to it considering the legacy there. So that's a topic on the table. Feel free to jump on board. We go from that We got news and notes around the National Football League, John.
Yeah, the NFL Notebook, a really interesting story about Jerry Jones.
Yeah, Jerry Jones just revealed this week, and there's a documentary series that Netflix has put out. Jerry Jones revealed that he's a cancer survivor, that he had very serious stage 4 cancer that spread in 2010, underwent some experimental treatments, and by virtue of the doctors and injections and diet, he is cancer-free, which is absolutely amazing. It's quite a story. So as much as you may not like Jerry, his mode of operation, his need to always be in the spotlight, he went through a trial that a lot of people would never volunteer to go through. He suffered through cancer, and he is a cancer survivor. So that story's kind of grabbed everybody, and a bit of a surprise. Rams, this Matthew Stafford story is not going away. Matthew Stafford's not practiced yet, and we're now 3.5 weeks into preseason camp. And again, he threw last Saturday, threw 68 passes in practice, a passing drill only in the Saturday morning. And he woke up Sunday and didn't feel right. And he was supposed to take part in a walkthrough on Monday, and he didn't feel right at all. He did not even want to do anything physical. So they sent him back into therapy and a hyperbaric chamber for oxygen treatment, and he has not been on the field yet. So we don't know as they go to week 5 now, next Monday, whether or not he's going to practice. And now we're on the clock in terms of getting ready for the start of the season. So the Rams situation with the quarterback remains up in the air. Chargers, Najee Harris, for the first time this week, did some football-related stuff. They've got him holding a football, doing one-day jogging, just jogging with a trainer, not practice, just jogging. The second day, because he had no setbacks from the first day, the second day, he was doing cuts with a trainer, running, cutting around cones. That's all he's been allowed to do. No clarification as to whether he's going to be on the practice field on Monday next week after they play the Rams in this third exhibition game, whether he's going to be ready to put on pads and actually go through physical exertion, what football is. But they're dropping hints. Joe Ortiz has indicated they are dropping hints that they're preparing to start the season with the rookie number 1 pick, Omarion Hampton, and Hassan Haskins, journeyman from the University of Michigan, that those might be their 2 backs to start the season against Kansas City when they play the season lid lifter down in Brazil. So that's the latest on the Chargers. Steelers, Mike Tomlin's got his hands full. Aaron Rodgers practicing very well. Mike Tomlin's got his hands full because Cam Hayward, their superstar defensive tackle, is now threatening to leave camp. He made a deal on a contract extension last year in which he took a very favorable Steeler contract for them. And he said, if I have a Pro Bowl season, we're going to reopen talks. Well, he had an unbelievable season in terms of sacks, tackles for losses, pressures, and all that. And he went back to him and said, it is time for you to take care of me. He's making $14 million a year. And he's had a great career in Pittsburgh. He's the 36th highest paid defensive lineman in the league. You know, he doesn't want $41 million, but he wants a bump up to $25 to $30 million on a short-term contract. And so far, they've not made any progress whatsoever. Now he's threatening to say, I will walk away and I won't be here for the start of the season unless you follow through with the promise that we had agreed upon when I took a favorable contract to help you last year. If I had bet on myself and had a good year, you would take care of me. So that's a big issue there. In Cleveland, I thought he deserved to play this weekend. He's not. Shadur Sanders is hurt. He got an oblique injury yesterday. So he's not going to play this weekend against the Eagles. They still don't know about Dylan Gabriel. He's had a hamstring. Gabriel has practiced, and there's theory if he could hold up in practice, he would play this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles. But here, everybody that I canvassed with back in Cleveland is of the opinion the kid hung in there. Kid made a bunch of plays. Kid made a bunch of bad plays too, but he just needs snaps and reps and live fire to continue to grow. But at this point now, does not look like he can play because of this oblique injury that just kind of came out of nowhere. Raiders, a lot of people looking sideways at Pete Carroll. Now, he's brought in a ton of street free agents. Some of the people that he's brought in are really questionable characters. Some of the people were good football players. Anyhow, he signed Jamal Adams, former safety with the Jets, was in Seattle, had some good years there, and then they got rid of him. A lot of junk off the field. And he also signed Devin White, who was a star linebacker for a couple of years in Tampa and really fell into disfavor. And a couple of anonymous coaches have dropped hints. They don't understand what Pete Carroll's doing, because when the going gets tough, you want the best citizens you can have to help you get through the tough times. And they just question why Pete Carroll is bringing in, quote, dirtbags to try to fix his roster, making reference to Jamal Adams and obviously Devin White. So Raiders are trying to fill some holes on their back seven on defense. These guys have had good seasons. These guys have had a lot of problems, which is why these guys got bounced out of the NFL. And the final one is what's going on with the Washington Commanders, Washington Redskins. This is a really intriguing story. The NFL's had a really bad day, had 2 bad days in a row in court. John Gruden, as you remember, lost his job because he sent emails to Washington Redskin official. They were terrible emails, racial slurs, stuff about women, stuff about Roger Goodell. Anyhow, those emails got leaked. This was all part of the discovery of the whole Daniel Snyder lawsuit. Somehow the Gruden emails got out there, got public. Gruden was forced out of his job with the Raiders. He has filed a defamation lawsuit against Roger Goodell and the NFL for intentionally leaking this stuff. So anyhow, there's a bylaw in the NFL that if you have a contract dispute, you're an employee, you have a contract dispute, and it can't be solved, it goes to arbitration. The arbitrator is Roger Goodell.
Oh.
So John Gruden's lawyers say, no, this does not make sense.
Conflict of interest.
Oh, you think?
Yeah.
The second thing is, when the emails got leaked, Gruden was no longer an employee. Emails were sent when Gruden was at ESPN.
Oh.
So they're saying this is a non-NFL incident. It came from a guy on TV who sent an email. This is not an employee of an NFL team, so it doesn't fall under the arbitration venue. So this thing has gone through the different courts, and it went to the Nevada Supreme Court. And the Nevada judge looked at it, ruled on it, and said, it's unconscionable for anything in the NFL to be decided by Roger Goodell in arbitration because he's biased on behalf of the other owners.
Of course.
So the judge ruled he has a right to take this lawsuit to court.
Yeah.
Lawsuit will go on. NFL is about now to file and go to the Supreme Court to ask them if they will hold a hearing and put back in place the fact that the collective bargaining agreement says Roger Goodell will be the arbitrator in any contractual dispute. I don't think he's got a leg to stand on, but that's one item, the Gruden story. And then today, right before noon, remember Brian Flores?
Oh, yeah.
Longtime defensive coordinator, former head coach. He filed a racial discrimination lawsuit against Roger Goodell, the NFL, over the bogus interviews for black coaching candidates.
Yeah, it's a dog and pony show.
Yeah, exactly. Brian Flores and 3 other assistant coaches are all named in this lawsuit against Roger Goodell for this dog and pony show. Well, the NFL tried to fight that whole case, and they went back to the judges and said, this needs to go to arbitration. Today, a New York appeals judge ruled, no. You can't have Roger Goodell be the arbitrator on the Brian Flores case either. This lawsuit goes to court too.
Interesting.
So NFL's had a bad 48 hours in the courtroom. Holy cow. So anyhow, that's from Jerry Jones through all things bad with Gruden and Brian Flores and Roger Goodell. John, the floor is yours.
The Gruden stuff is interesting. I mean, obviously what he did was horrible, the emails and everything. I'm not condoning that, but I think he's got a good case here. I mean, because Goodell's got a conflict of interest. He can't be the judge and he is the jury and the prosecutor all baked into one. And then the other story, about Brian Flores, potentially getting a little bit of at least acknowledgement that he got screwed over in that whole thing. So the NFL has been riding high for so long. They're getting knocked down a peg or two. Goodell will survive the whole thing, but Chucky is still alive, so it'd be funny if this goes to the Supreme Court to see how this shakes out. The Raider thing is interesting with Pete Carroll because he kind of reminds me of like someone like Jerry Tarkanian, you know, where they always want to give a second, third, fourth chance to some of these guys, probably thinking that, you know, he wants to be a good guy, you know, and give this guy another chance. But sometimes you strike gold with some of those so-called bad characters, you know, so it's a gamble. But I just think it's part of Carroll's personality. I mean, when you tell me that he's doing that, he's giving these guys chances, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Interesting. We all come from somewhere, including people who are, quote, dirtbags, according to other people around the National Football League, and they're all going to wear, that's a perfect fit. They're going to wear the Raider colors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The silver and black. And by the way, I love the story of Jerry Jones getting an experimental drug, experimental procedure, whatever it was. He was willing to take a gamble, and it paid off for him.
Well, he had to, because the stage 4 meant the cancer had gone from one organ to another.
Yeah.
This was kind of last chance saloon.
But see, the beauty of this is then, and granted, I know he went through hell and it's stage 4, but it's cool how medical technology is getting better and better, you know, and so we can save people in stage 4, because usually when you hear you have stage 4, it's game over.
Yeah. Protein injections, and it worked. I mean, it is
cool.
It is now 2025. He had this in 2010.
Yeah, right on.
Amazing story. Okay, we go from all things NFL. You got an opinion on any of these topics? Jump on board. Fans Forum chat box is open. A couple of NBA notes. Ooh, this is bad stuff to have to talk about, but we got to cover it.
Okay, the Brooklyn Nets at the top of the list.
Brooklyn Nets made a huge trade about a month ago. They got a high-scoring forward, and Michael Porter came from Denver. Michael Porter is the brother of young Toronto Raptors draft pick Jonte Porter. Jonte Porter was expelled for life from the NBA for betting, in essence, shaving points, playing poorly, so a bunch of his friends could make a lot of money. Michael Porter did a press conference yesterday. He talked openly. He says the players in the NBA have now been caught in no man's land because of the NBA's business involvement with casinos and DraftKings and FanDuel and all that. He says, you know, a lot of these players have come from nothing, and all of a sudden they have money in their hands, and they have pressure from their friends and their hangers-on and their posse. And these players need to be better educated about the decisions they're going to make with the amount of money they have. And Michael Porter said, I understand the business of the NBA involves sponsorships with casinos and all the lotteries and all that. At the end of the day, we shouldn't have betting online, because they think that's the trigger point where somebody makes the last-minute deal, and all of a sudden, all these bets show up 20 minutes before tip-off on something that's weird, which becomes a red flag for everybody in the betting industry to look at and say, there's something not right here. And that's what happened with Jonte Porter and a few other people. He says the betting should only be when John Riley goes to a casino on holiday in Las Vegas or in Atlantic City, and it shouldn't be online, any of these other places. So that's a late-breaking story for Michael Porter, who's got, obviously, his family situation. Portland Trailblazers have been sold. It was, of course, owned by the legendary Paul Allen, who also owned the Seahawks. He passed on. The family was running it. Franchise has kind of gone in a state of disrepair. I mean, it was in limbo for a whole group of years. Tom Dundon, who owns the NHL Carolina Hurricane, who bought that franchise when it was in trouble. Tom Dundon, who did a great job in the NHL, has now become majority owner of the Portland Trailblazers, and he's going to try to bring them back. Third one, and this is the most interesting thing of all, waiting for another trade. Now, most everybody in the NBA has signed on or been traded, with the exception of Jonathan Kuminga, the jumping jack young forward from Golden State, the South African, who wants out of there. And the Golden State will only trade him if they get fair value. They're not going to let this guy go for nothing. They're talking to Chicago about a straight-up swap for their young guard, Josh Giddey. Giddey averaged double digits. I mean, he is a stroker and a shooter. Kuminga, I think, is his future still ahead of him. I think there's big upside there. He had a lot of bad injuries this past year, but he wants out. Doesn't get along with Steve Kerr. So keep an eye on this. Kuminga to Chicago would be huge. Giddey coming to Golden State would add a lot more firepower to an aging Warriors basketball team. So, John, you got gambling, you got a new owner in Portland, you got this trade. Go ahead.
You know, okay, well, that was Michael Porter at that press conference. Now, he used to be on the Nuggets, right?
Yes, he got traded about a month ago.
About a month ago, okay. And I know the DeJounte Porter story was big. Now, I get that he's hurting, Michael Porter's, he's hurting for his brother, his family. I understand that. But he's right. There needs to be better education for these players. And like I said in a previous podcast, we need better education in schools about this kind of thing, personal finance, gambling, and everything that's involved with that. But in my opinion, having the gambling interests integrated with professional sports, usually most people think that's taboo. I think it can be good if it's policed right, because it brings a lot more fan interest into the games. And so, and part of the fan interest is the ability to bet online. And there are guys that they don't just bet on a team right before the game. They bet in the middle of the game, real-time betting, which I've never seen before until a friend showed me on his app that he got from one of his bookies. So in my opinion, I think this integration is good if it's policed. And I really like how sports leagues have an open channel of communication with the sports books, that if there's a spike on something odd, then that raises a red flag. So, I think online betting, in my opinion, is more good than bad. And so I disagree with him as far as banning online gaming. But I understand why he's feeling this way because of his brother.
All right. Interesting NBA story. We'll see what kind of reaction that we get from that. Last topic on the table. We're going to go a lot of different directions here because we do like to talk soccer on this podcast too, John.
Yeah. Team USA kicking us off.
Let's start with Team USA. They went through such a rocky time with their new coach, Mauricio Pochettino. And then they played really well in the Gold Cup. But leading up to that time, there was just enormous criticism of Pochettino because he allowed so many of the veteran players who are worn out not to play. He used it as a litmus test for all of his young roster, and they played pretty well. But there was a lot of criticism from Landon Donovan, Alexi Lawless, etc. Most of these players have kept their mouths shut until this week. Christian Pulisic, who's with AC Milan and is one of their stars, he went nuclear on the veteran players, former Team USA members who ripped the current Team USA guys who took the summer off to heal from injuries and the wear and tear. Pulisic said yesterday, it is a cop-out of these veteran players to talk about us like this. For them to say we don't want it, for them to say we don't have heart, for them to say we need to fight and die on the field. He said these retired players are doing this because now it's all about clicks for them. It's all about paychecks for them. Watch me, hear me, subscribe to my damn channel. And Pulisic said, where's the unity? You played the game. You know how tough this game is. And the demands on today's players are different than when you played. Where's the support for Team USA and what we are going through? And then Tim Weah, who's playing abroad in Europe, came back and said the ex-players who have ripped us are evil. They're doing nothing but chasing checks. They're criticizing the flag and the program. These names, Donovan, Tim Howard, etc., they're two-faced. They shake your hand and then they go on TV and bash you. Yikes. So it's been real lashback from Team USA members against the former stars of the U.S. international program. So that's one topic. English Premier League. Hell, I don't know what you're doing Saturday morning, but you should be up at 4:30. English Premier League season starts this weekend.
Here we go.
Here we go. Going to be very interesting. There has been a spending spree in this offseason in the English Premier League like we have not seen in a long time. Manchester United did transfer deals of 44 million, 84 million, and 94 million to add goal scorers. They got to get better because Manchester U has really dipped. Brian Mbumo, Martinez Cunha, and Ben Sesko. 3 name European players all coming to play for Man U. Liverpool, $150 million transfer deal to get Florian Wirtz, goal scorer from Germany, and $106 million to get another goal scorer from Frankfurt, Hugo Ekitike. Manchester City did a deal within their own league to get goaltender, veteran netminder James Trafford from Burnley. Chelsea got players from teams who got relegated, Ipswich Town and Brighton. And one deal has not been done yet. He doesn't want to play for Newcastle any longer. Everybody's trying to figure out where Alec Isaac is going to go. English Premier League starts Saturday. Obviously, Liverpool, Manchester City, who was wiped out by injuries last year, those are really the ones to beat. So if you're an EPL fan, get your ass out of bed at 4:30 and watch the first games of the new season. Last one is golf. We're in the BMW Championships this weekend, the FedEx playoffs for all the big money. And then we go to the Ryder Cup. And I'll tell you what, this will be fun. U.S. versus Europe. As of this hour, the leaders for Team USA will be Scotty Scheffler and the guys from San Diego, J.J. Spawn and Xander Schauffele.
Cool.
They've earned their way out of the USA team, and they're going to be front and center. And the European side, Rory, the great veteran Justin Rose, red-hot Tommy Fleetwood, and the explosive Ty Hatton. I mean, Ryder Cup's going to be really fun because we got guys dominating both sides at the top of the leaderboards, and they're going to play against each other a group of weeks from now in the Ryder Cup. So, John, Team USA, you want to talk about the current stars and what they just said about the stars of yesteryear? You want to talk about the Premier League or talk golf?
Well, on the Team USA story, I'm kind of disappointed to hear what you just shared, because obviously when it all went down, you know, everyone was sort of thinking the same thing, you know, like we're going into this, what was it, the Gold Cup?
Yes.
And we don't have our top stars, and what the hell? And then they had been laying eggs, you know, leading up to it. And we were just like really down on Team USA. It made sense to ask questions and maybe be critical of Pochettino and what the hell he was doing.
Well, they were critical of the veteran players.
Well, we learned more about it. As fans, we learned, okay, yeah, these guys have been playing, I don't know, 49 out of 52 weeks or whatever it is. And so they needed time off. And we're like, okay, we understand. And we understand the criticism. But after that, especially after they finish on such a high note as a runner-up in that tournament, I thought, okay, everything's cool. But now suddenly it's flaring up again.
Well, because the veterans who criticize Pulisic and those guys, the Donovans and the Tim Howards and the Lawlesses, they never apologized or never said they were wrong. It's like the criticism is posted right up there in the bulletin board.
Okay, that's a fair point. They should have said they were wrong. They should have said, yay, USA. I mean, after like, wow, we didn't expect this, you know, but it's just disappointing to have, you know, it's like your dirty laundry, you know, you don't want to see your family fighting amongst themselves in public, you know, so yeah.
All right, that's where we are. Those are hot topics on the table because we do sports talk the way it should be done. Now it's your turn to take over. Fans Forum chat box is now open for business. You go anywhere you want, ask questions, make statements. First-timers, long-timers, lovers, haters, doesn't matter. We'll put you on. You want to talk about this guy's violation of the dress code? That's okay, too. Listen, this Fans Forum, this podcast brought to you by Dixieline Lumber and Home Centers, 9 locations to serve you in San Diego. You got projects, they've got ideas, they got materials. Go to Dixieline.com just to see all the things they have to offer. John, go ahead. These are all your best friends. This is going to be fun. Go ahead.
It's wild hearing apparel criticism from you, of all people.
And you who critique what I wear, well, look how you dress.
Well, when I first met you over at the IHOP and RB when Jerry hooked us up, you came rolling in with like this tattered like Yankee sweatshirt.
I still have it. I'll wear it when we get to the World Series against the Yankees.
All right, let's keep moving. We'll start here with the O-Siders, and thanks the O-Siders for giving us a couple of bucks. And we'll go here talk Chargers. He says, hey, the Chargers playing the Rams as the away team this Saturday, and Harbaugh says he's going to start Herbert and most of the starters. Do you think this is because of the offensive line problems?
Well, I just think he's trying to find some rhythm. And, you know, if that's the case, then that means Omarion Hampton, the number 1 pick, is going to get more than 1 or 2 running plays. They just got to find rhythm. Maybe they're going to have Keenan Allen is actually going to get on the field. He's going to play. I don't think they're going to play a hell of a lot of series, maybe a first quarter at best. The Rams are not playing their starters. I mean, the Rams are going wall to wall with Stetson Bennett because of the Matthew Stafford injury. Stafford would not play even if he were 100% healthy. So, I mean, the Chargers are playing really well. I mean, they've beaten 2 really bad teams in preseason. The kids on defense are running and making. I mean, the amount of things they've done defensively, turnovers, quarterback sacks, third down defense, has really been impressive in these exhibition games. So we'll see. And then obviously the Chargers will go back out on the road for their final preseason game. But, we're just a couple weeks away from the start of the season in Kansas City. So for him to decide that Herbert's going to get some snaps, he probably just wants to get all these pieces in place on the field. We haven't seen Mekhi Becton yet, the right guard. He's not practiced, which to me, that's a little bit alarming because he had a bad history of injuries when he was with the New York Jets. He had a good first season, only season with the Eagles, stayed on the field. He hadn't practiced at all, so he's not going to play. I just think that Harbaugh wants to see Herbert in a rhythm with this offensive line, Herbert with the kid running back, Herbert with Keenan Allen, and Ladd McConkey, who was hurt last week, who's going to probably get back on the field.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, because I'm sure Harbaugh wants to see what he's really got, because it's a shuffling of the deck. I mean, when they get signed Joe Alt, we were all like, hey, man, it's that third #1 pick on the line.
And he's got to be the left tackle now.
Yeah. And so everything is whacked out. So, yeah, they got to find out. And this Mekhi Becton thing, I mean, do you think, or is it Mekhi Becton? What's the status with, I mean, it's like a secret. We don't really know.
They're not talking about injuries at all. There's no transparency. I mean, they've never, ever revealed the Najee Harris injury, even though it's obviously fairly significant. So I just think there's a loss of credibility when you're not transparent on something as significant of that nature. It's not going to change anything. Guy can't practice. The guy can't practice. Tell us why he can't practice, and let's move on.
Well, that's how the Chargers were when they were here in San Diego with
that's
the
like
Fortress.
The whole NFL is.
Yeah, and it was just like, they're gaslighting the media and trying to prevent them from getting the real story.
So that's where we are. The Rams, Saturday afternoon, 4:00.
Okay. All right, let's go here to Roberto, talk some Padres-Dodgers. He goes, hey, Padres need to take the Dodgers down this weekend. With the Dodgers bullpen edgy and the offense not coming through, this is the time to take the NL West division. Let's go, Padres. Longtime Hacksaw listener.
Well, they can put some distance between themselves and the Dodgers, but it's only a 3-game series. And remember, the Dodgers are going to play a lot of substandard teams once they're done with this weekend. So, I mean, the Dodgers I still believe they're going to come back. Question is, will the Padres continue to roll? I mean, it's a 14-3 streak that the Padres are on, and this is a Dodger team that is half a team right now, but just because they can't trust anybody in the bullpen. There's nobody healthy. They can't get anybody in there to give them quality, consistent innings. So, I mean, if they could, I don't think they could sweep the series. Anything's possible at Dodger Stadium. I mean, if by Monday, when we come back on Monday, it's a 4-game lead in the West, wow. But it could also be a 1-game Dodger lead in the West, too.
Yeah. And there's a lot of different ways this whole thing can go. But it's going to be, I mean, we're all going to be glued to our TV set. It's going to be fantastic. In the, it was interesting in the game on yesterday afternoon, they'll interview one of the Padre players in the dugout, and it was a new guy, Nestor Cortez. And he was really personable. I really enjoyed that conversation. And he was saying, oh, yeah, I've already hooked up with Ruben Niebla and we're working on my changeup and everything. And I'm thinking, man, he did a good job in his last outing. And then you look at what Pivetta did. I mean, he shut down the Giants. He's been looking good now. And then Dylan Cease is looking a little better. And obviously we need King and Darvish to come up. I mean, that Padre rotation, if all goes well, could go head to head with those Dodger pitchers.
Well, if in the next 6 weeks, Darvish can be what Darvish was, and there are no setbacks for Michael King, and he becomes dominant. And if they've figured out the mechanical flaw in Cease has had 2 good starts now, but prior to that, he had 9 or 10 bad starts.
I agree.
So, hold our breath here. I'm a little skitterish on Michael King going to Dodger Stadium tomorrow and whether or not he's going to get lit, because he didn't pitch well in his first start, but it's his first start. I'm willing to give him a lot of time. I just hate to see these guys all get lit up by the Dodgers.
Well, I just hope, Manny kind of has, cooled down, some of the excitement, and, we're business. We're here to take care of business. And they do that in Dodger Stadium.
You think there'll be a few boos at
Dodger it's going to be, the fans are going to be going bananas. And these cocky Dodger fans who've been thinking, now we're first place, you can't catch us. Now I see some of these cocky Dodger fans saying, well, maybe we don't want that first round bye because we don't want to go into the second round cold. See all these rationalities, all this excuse making, it's already coming from LA.
Maybe they won't be hassling the Padres because they're too busy booing the Dodgers.
Yeah, but the Dodgers, I mean, the Padre fans are booing the Padres too. I mean, Tatis heard a little bit of it recently.
Yeah, but that's an odd occurrence.
Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to the practicing guitarist. He goes, hey, let's keep some perspective. There's a lot of baseball left. The division alone will not cut it. It's a World Series or bust. The season can suddenly vanish like 24 after 24 scoreless innings.
I concur with you wholeheartedly. But if you can be in the driver's seat, and I think you'd agree with me, Mr. Guitarist, this Padre team is a complete team right now, and they are playing on the edge, and they are playing IQ smart baseball. We haven't seen this in a long time. I mean, there's a lot of intangibles to what the Padres are doing that have made them very successful. So let's just see what the 3-game series is like. It's going to be good.
I can't wait. I mean, and you know, I grew up as a Giants fan, like in the 70s. And I remember in 1978, they actually were competitive. And it was in August, like in mid-August. And it was the Giants and the Dodgers were right near the top. And I just remember being so thrilled as a 12-year-old, or maybe I was 13 that year. And it was exciting. It was an exciting moment for me as a kid. So I just think, for kids right now that they're growing up with this sport, learning about baseball, I mean, this last 5 years has been a great run.
Oh, there's no doubt. Whether or not you subscribe to the method of operation of Preller and buying on the credit card every third year and trading the farm system away 4 times in 11 seasons.
No, just win, baby. That's what he wants to do. He wants to win now.
At the end of the day, the product, the last 5 years in the community has just been spectacular. But that being said, last I checked, you and I have not sat next to each other yet at a World Series game.
No, we haven't. No. But I mean, I'm just digging the vibe. Can't get ahead of ourselves. We're not scheduling the parade yet. Okay. But 1 game up, going into a 3-game series. This is what it's all about.
We move on. Thanks for being with us.
Okay. Let's go to Saucy James. He goes, go Halos.
Tell you what, give those kids on that roster credit. There is no quit in Angel baseball. From that roster. They may not have enough pitching. I don't think they have enough bats. That does not bother Zach Neto and Chanel and Ohapi, even Joe Adele. I mean, for them to do it, they beat the Dodgers 6 times in a row. 6-0 this season. How is that humanly possible when you look at their roster and you look at the Dodger roster and say, no. And they did it. So there's no quit in these kids. They need more help. They need more players. That's what the offseason is. Once you get rid of Anthony Rendon's contract, let's reinvest that money to get the right chemistry guys to come in to be part of this team. It's been cool. They're still sub 500. They keep clawing their way back up. You know, they're trying to get to 62-62, and they go on a 3-game losing streak. They just have not been able to get over the 500 hump. But man, we beat the Dodgers 3 in a row. Credit to those kids.
Yeah. The Freeway Series is well and alive right now. And it's a thrill for them. But, you know, you and I were paying attention to the game, and it went late last night. And I thought the Dodgers had this one in hand. I mean, especially the way it started out with Ohtani hitting the triple and Mookie knocking him in. And
then Ohtani hitting the home run in the 9th.
Yeah. But then the Angels come back to win. I mean, that bullpen by the Dodgers just keeps imploding.
It's amazing. The Dodger bullpen has given up 71 home runs this season.
That's almost as many home runs as the Padres have for the whole year.
Yeah. It's just terrible. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's go here to our friend Callan. He goes, hey, afternoon, gents. How do you see the NBA doing with this new media deal, especially with Peacock and Prime Video joining the association? Thanks, as always, for a great show. Cheers to a fun weekend.
Well, Callum, all these media contracts and all the sports are just evolving and really changing. I think the problem the fans have is where you're going to go see the marquee games. You know, because now you got so many, quote, network partners. I think it's really hard to follow your team on a regular basis, especially the marquee events. And the biggest fear is, the marquee events going to wind up being put all on some form of subscription, pay-per-view? Yikes. You know, it's interesting you mentioned the NBA new media deal. A report this afternoon is that Major League Baseball is closing in on a deal with 4 different networks, but 2 of them are going to be subscriptions.
Okay.
So, you know, plus we're going to have, obviously, your local team will be on whatever type of media transaction deal they make. But it's tough to stay up with this. And if that's not enough, then we had the whole UFC thing and what just transpired with CBS and Paramount. And they're walking away from pay-per-view. And their whole theory is this is where it's going to be. It's going to be on CBS, it's going to be on Paramount. We're not going to be on 4 or 5 different venues delivering us the product. Interesting.
Well, yeah, they're trying to figure out what the future is going to be. They're looking in their crystal ball, and it's hard to say. But, if you think about what it costs us with a cable TV subscription, I mean, it could be like $200 a month, depending on the kind of package you get.
Yeah, my cable, I think, is $264, but mine is also entwined with internet and, other things.
Yeah. But still, I mean, the point being is that in order to watch sports using your cable TV package, you have to buy the package that they give you, which includes like the food channel and a bunch of stuff that you don't care about.
You don't like the Westminster Dog Show?
I will watch that sometimes. It's very interesting. But the beauty of what's going on now with pay-per-view and all these subscriptions, and at first it's shocking. Oh my God, I got to pay for this. Well, you've already been paying, but you have been paying less efficiently. Now imagine you could cherry pick, the 3 or 4 subscriptions you want, and each one of those is $5, $10, $20 a month. In the end, you're probably paying less than you were for the big cable package. So the whole landscape is shifting, and not only are these media companies trying to get ahead of it, but for us as fans, we have to understand that the old paradigm of cable TV is fading away.
So you don't like the National Geographic Channel?
Well, what's funny is I was browsing on Disney. Sometimes I like to go watch Andor or other Star Wars shows there, and they have a whole National Geographic is there on the Disney Channel. You can watch everything. I mean, you could see, was it Jane Goodall out there with the apes and the whole thing?
Amazing.
Okay. All right, let's keep going here. And here's our good friend, Tim Todd. And he goes, hey, what's the outlook for Tommy Edman? How long are we looking at him being out? Love that San Diego guy.
Well, I tell you what, he's had just a bad stretch. I mean, he's had foot and ankle injuries. He's on the DL for the 3rd time. I think they're hoping that they can get him back sometime in early September, but he's a glue guy who has really been productive, but boy, he just can't stay healthy. So it's one of the issues. The Dodgers are, in addition to the problems in the bullpen with all the injuries, I mean, the whole relief corps, you got 6 relievers on the DL right now, and they've had 21 pitchers overall on the disabled list during the course of the year. The other thing is some of the off-the-bench glue guys that make a big difference aren't there. I mean, Chris Taylor was released. He went to the Angels and got hurt. Kiki Hernandez has been nagging injuries, and Tommy Edmonds is just not Tommy Edmonds at this point in time. So those guys helped the Dodgers a great deal last year. Edmonds was just a gem of an acquisition post-deadline.
Because I know when they got him, we were like, oh, yeah, Tommy Edman, because he was hurt.
He was hurt then when they came.
Yeah, and so he finally kind of got healthy right before the playoffs. And dude plays center, plays second, plays third. He could play short in a pinch. I mean, and yeah, local La Jolla Country Day guy. I mean, he's a special kid.
Yep, but he's not there right now, and that's one of many items we're checking off. If they were completely healthy, that'd be a $383 million team of superstars, but they're not healthy. And this pitching catastrophe it's beyond explanation as to why this keeps happening to them, both at the major league level and what's happened at the AAA level.
Well, this kind of pitching curse is like something you expect to happen to a Padre team, not to the Golden Dodgers. Okay, let's go to our good buddy Aztec Mike taking a shot here. He goes, hey, Ryan Lindley is the San Diego State tight end coach. And it was Christian Chapman. Remember, I was going, Christian? Yes, Christian Chapman.
And I mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
And he managed the games. He had a decent career. I think he threw 39 touchdown passes, but they didn't throw the ball very much because they ran it and played great defense.
And they always got to a bowl game, if I remember, and he was there for, I think, 4 straight years. Wasn't he from, what was the school up in Orange County? Chapman? No, that's his name, Chapman. Pardon me.
I thought he was from like Cathedral Catholic down here.
Yeah, he might have been. I don't know. But yeah, those were times when the Aztecs were they weren't lighting the world on fire, but they were strong and steady, and they'd be competitive in the Mountain West. They'd win it every other year or so. They'd always make a bowl game, and they'd just kind of do San Diego proud.
But Aztec Mike, you will agree with me because we put that board up. The legacy of Aztec quarterbacks from back in the day, that was pretty spectacular. And we haven't seen anything like that in a long period of time since the Lindley O'Connell era. And obviously prior to that one, it was wide open football. They got to find a way to get back to that. They got to find a way to get those type of quarterbacks back in here because this is Southern California and everybody in high school here throws the football.
Well, there's more to his comment here. He goes, hey, this is his shot. He goes, see you at FanFest tonight if you were real San Diego sports media.
We cover everything. Do we put this topic on the table? Hell yes, we do. Do we cover everything? Do I go to the press conferences? Hell yes, we go to games too. So we'll see. They start 2 weeks from tonight. Their schedule's pretty colorful. Schedule pretty damn tough. Road games. You got to go to Fresno, but they do get Boise here, which that'll be great.
Did you see how Kurt, what's his name? Kurt Warner's kid is the quarterback at Fresno.
EJ Warner. Yeah, he's thrown for a ton of touchdowns at Rice. He was at another school prior to that, but he grabbed the starting job at Fresno State because it's a new coach. That new coach came from North Dakota State, and they throw the hell out of the ball up there.
All right. Well, it's going to be entertaining.
EJ Warner. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right, right on. Okay, let's keep moving here, and we'll go to did we go to Santiago? Yeah, let's go here. Hey, you have to get the Dodgers now while Ohtani is distracted by his Hawaii housing deal fallout. Love the show from East LA.
Well, I don't think Ohtani's paying any attention, which then begs the question, why is he not paying attention to his personal business? But so I don't know how much of this is Ohtani, how much of this is the point man, the player agent representing him. But Ohtani he's phenomenal. Just to watch all the things he has to do Monday through Sunday to get ready to be the DH every day and throw one pitch once a week. I mean, the manpower hours, the mental fortitude it takes for this type of preparation. I mean, we just don't see it from a lot of players. So that's a special individual. I wish I could tell you more about the Dodgers, but right now they are so upside down with pitching problems and injuries. I mean, you sit here and you look at the Dodger record. I don't know, what 17 games over 500. It's the most unimpressive winning team I've ever seen because they've had so many problems.
Yeah, but they just keep it like the Kansas City Chiefs last year. Remember, they would always seem to win in the end, and that's how the Dodgers were. But now suddenly they're just getting bit in the ass. I mean, the pitching problems have really caught up with them.
I think so.
They can't muscle the game and win it 11-8 every time. I mean, even like you say, the offense has kind of scaled back a bit. But I just want to make one comment to Santiago. And I love it when you get in fans forum and you kind of shout out where you're from East LA. And I like seeing that because we've had people call in, or not call in, but, on fans forum from Ireland. We've had them from, obviously from Winnipeg, a ton of them there. Las Cruces. We've had them all over the United States.
So you want people to show their driver's license ID?
Yeah, but I love hearing where they're from. Was the other cool one. Who was it? Was it Dan Patrick? One of those radio programs where people, when they would say, hey, this is, John from San Diego. And you always have to check in with your height and weight. And then he would hit the little, the bell that dings on the counter every time.
That's right.
Early
days.
I just like, when we get to learn a little bit more about the fans out there, just telling us who you are, where you're from.
So you don't have any problem with me reserving the 10th phone line on Talk Show Radio, my ladies line.
Yeah.
And then the red phone was the Kiss My Aztec line.
Yeah, exactly. We got to have a couple more of those as well. Okay, here's some more Ohtani comments from Joey. He goes, Ohtani ERA is 3.47 and Yamamoto 2.84. Neither is pitching this week, and Snell hasn't gone past 5 innings.
That's okay, because you're going to see these guys probably rotate into the weekend series down here next weekend. The Padres, it's interesting. Some of their schedule, they haven't faced hot pitchers. They did not face Skeens. All the games that played against the Pirates did not face Paul Skeens.
Yeah,
it's kind of really
luck
amazing.
Of the draw.
Yeah, it's the way the schedule works, the rotation works, etc. But when you play these guys as often as they're playing them, you're gonna wind up facing these guys. They're gonna face Glass now, and obviously they're gonna get a look at Snell, and they'll probably get Ohtani next week.
Holy crap. I mean, this is just going to be Clash of the Titans.
Well, prove yourself.
Yeah. I mean, this is going to be great. And, Tyler Glass now, I mean, that guy is like, what, 6'7",
Yep.
6'6". He's huge. And he can throw it, but, we see so little of him because he's always hurt.
Yeah. Well, he's not had any physical setbacks since he came back from that extended day on the disabled list. So he's back and he looks vintage. Snell, he's had 2 good starts. Now, granted, they may be 4 or 5 innings, but those are dominant 4 or 5 innings. Problem is, with this bullpen, they need more than 4 or 5 innings from anybody.
And they need complete games from these guys.
Well, they pushed Ohtani into the 5th last night, and you could see in the 5th inning, he was really fatigued, and he threw a lot of it. That's the most pitches he's thrown in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, on one level, you're saying it's amazing what he's doing, being a two-way player, and in a lot of ways, I'm surprised we haven't seen more of that, because obviously that's a very common in youth baseball. But yeah, at that level, that must be really fatiguing. I mean, to do both.
Phil Nevin made a comment when he managed the Angels that Ohtani was mentally the toughest player he had ever seen. And he's talking about the workload and the cerebral approach of what you need to be a designated hitter, what you need to be an outfielder. That was prior to all these injuries, what you needed to prepare for pitching. And then there's all the other ancillary things like studying video and staff meetings and strategy meetings. I mean, these guys just don't show up an hour before game time. I'm ready to play. I mean, there's a ton of prep, especially for a guy that's a DH and a guy that's a starting pitcher. So he's just, what Ohtani's accomplishing, we'll never, ever see it again, I don't think.
Well, usually the teams won't allow a player to do, they say pick one, you know, but you can't do both. Now, you mentioned Phil Nevin. I saw this yesterday. My son sent me a video of Phil Nevin's son, Kyle, who is in the Dodgers farm system. He plays for the AA Tulsa Drillers, just hit for the cycle. You know, so it's nice to see Phil Nevin. He is the older son, Tyler, I think is playing in Japan.
Right.
Yeah. He was a former first-round pick. So the Nevin kids, we're going to see him in the pros hopefully soon.
Okay, we move on. Thanks for being with us.
Okay, let's go here to Jeff Perkins. He goes, hey, MLB playoff idea. No first-round buys. All 6 teams play a best-of-3. Round 2, highest seed gets a bye. The other 2 seeds play a 1-game playoff. Thank you.
Nah, now you're telling me we're going to change the second round? Nah, I don't think so. That's a little too radical. I think the best of 3 they've got right now really works. And I think that becomes best of 5, then it becomes best of 7. I like this structure, the way it goes right now.
Yeah, I like the way it builds 3, 5,
exactly,
and then 7. You remember back in the day, you know, the World Series, it was the only playoff, and that was a 7-gamer. And then they had the championship series that were 5-game series. But then, you know, it gets confusing when you start to look at the NBA and the AHL, and some of them have 7-game series in the second or third round, and some don't.
Yeah, and you're a big NBA Cup fan in November, which makes no sense to me at all.
Okay, keep on going. Oh, here's some clarification from Osiders. Chapman is from Carlsbad High School, right, and he won the Mountain West Championship and now coaches my son varsity at Carlsbad High School football.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish there was a way that more and more of those guys, and they've really had some really good quarterbacks in that chunk of time, these guys would come back into this program and be visible around the program. So, but again, people go off on their life and their career choices, and some is in coaching and others are not. So, but they've had a good run. I mean, that when I sat down and started to do research of year by year Aztec quarterbacks, and it just floored me how, not miserable, because that's not a fair statement, but how mundane Aztec quarterbacking was post Lindley and Kevin O'Connell, because those guys were the epitome of greatness. And then we had virtually nothing. And from when Ryan Lindley wrapped up, I mean, it's 17 quarterbacks in 12 years. None of them were difference makers or guys that were all Mountain West or guys that were going to win games for you. They managed games, etc. So that group that started in the Air Coryell era on the bottom, all the way progressing through O'Connell and Lindley, collectively, that was a really good group of throwers representing San Diego State. We just haven't seen it yet. So,
well, sure. I want one question on that list. Dennis Shaw, is that the guy that used to be the coach at Stanford?
No.
Is it, his name is Shaw? Is it Dennis Shaw?
No. Dennis Shaw is from here. He was a JUCO kid, came in, played 1 year, threw 39 touchdown passes in one season.
Wow.
For Air Coryell. And then went to the American Football League, played for the Buffalo Bills.
Right on. Yeah.
So great.
You what I think about when I think of Aztec history is, remember Al Luganbill?
Sure.
And he would be pacing up and down the sidelines, and they put one of those pedometers on him, and it was sort of a thing to see how many steps he walked in a game.
Well, he was the one who brought, with his coaching staff, brought Marshall Faulk here.
Wow, what a recruit.
Yeah.
Well, I think most big-time programs didn't want Faulk to be a running back.
There was an injury factor there, too. He was a great athlete. He was, the SEC teams wanted him as a cornerback. But Aztecs had coaches who had access to coaches in Louisiana and Texas. And they said, no, we want you to be the guy. I'll never forget the first year that he was at State, because I was broadcasting those games at that point, and I'd go to practice a lot. And first scrimmage they had, and this is when they were practicing on, it's almost like a dirt field. He was the 7th guy on the depth chart in the first Aztec scrimmage, 7th.
7th?
Yeah, and he got in at the end. He ran 2 sweeps, and he went, whoop, whoop, he was gone.
Well, it was that breakout game, I think it's against Pacific, where
386 yards.
Was unbelievable. Yeah. And I just remember, like, everyone was like, who in the heck is this guy? You know, and he was just lighting it up. And it was just, what a great moment for San Diego. And I'm still angry that Gino Toretto won the Heisman Trophy. And what's that guy's name? Lee Corso was like rigging the system. You know, I don't know what was going on over there, but Falk deserved the Heisman Trophy that senior year, or his final year.
He had a great career. He was the #1 pick in the National Football League, first-round draft pick, went to the Hall of Fame. You can't get any better than that.
Now, he's with Coach Prime now, right?
He's running backs coach at Colorado. I think they got 7 or 9 guys with NFL experience on Coach Prime's staff.
Like Warren Sapp, I think, is one of them.
Yeah, he's got a lot of guys there. So that's really kind of cool. But that, man, it's amazing. I never forget, it was hot. It was dusty. It was almost like an all dirt football field. And Marshall Falk, at the end of this first scrimmage, comes off the bench. They give him a ball as an 18-year-old freshman, and he just lights it up. And he did not start the first game of the season either. I think they had a veteran running back who was pretty good from, I think it was Mira Mesa, Wayne Pittman.
Oh, I remember that name. Yeah.
And he had a nice career. But anyhow, then there were injuries, and Marshall got to play, and holy cow, 386-yard game against was it Long Beach State or Pacific?
Well, the big yardage game was Pacific. He had like 4 touchdowns, I think.
That was like the 3rd game of the season.
Yeah.
He arrived.
But they're obviously not a powerhouse program to Pacific, but do that against anybody. I mean, wow, incredible.
It was really impressive. And the sky's the limit. He stayed here 3 years. He did a lot of phenomenal things. So.
Isn't it cool how in any sport you'll find that, you know, all these athletes are all good. They all got there because they're good. And there's always still one guy that is just head and shoulders above the rest. You go, that guy's special. It's
all about opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay, we move on.
Okay, let's move on to our friends at social media, get some of them involved. And this is an interesting comment. This is from 24 to my street. He says, hey, Padres have the better engineer machine. Dodgers are just a bunch of fancy parts strung together, same as the 23 Padres.
I think the most unique thing is baseball IQ. You look at the way the Padres play, they play on the edge. You look at their aggressiveness. You look at their strategy. You look at their fundamentals. I mean, it's pretty impressive. You know, we saw some really bad baseball yesterday against the Giants. I mean, you talk about coming apart emotionally at the seams and just giving up. This Padre team does not make mistakes. This Padre team does not make bad plays. Schilt really knows how to push the right buttons, and they got a lot of talent. Now it's a complete lineup. Now it's a complete ball club. It's in the years I've been here, I've been here a long time now covering this thing. We've had some really good teams. You know, the Greg Vaughn teams, the Caminiti, the Gwynn teams, Kevin Brown, Trevor Hoffman. But I don't know that we've ever had a quote complete team like we have right now, because these guys can do anything and everything, and Schilt just plays on the edge with these guys. I'm so impressed with how well they've come together now that all the holes have been filled on the roster at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you talk about baseball IQ, and I'm going to go back to Ramon Laureano.
Sure.
And it was a game, it might have been one of the Red Sox games where he had the walk-off hit that hit the chopper over the third baseman's head. I mean, that was a Cardinals game, because I think it went over Arenado's head, if I recall. And apparently, Laureano was given the bunt sign, and he missed the sign. He says, well, I'm new here. I don't really know the signs. But he ended up, but from a baseball IQ perspective, he intentionally tried to chop down on it to just put the ball in play. And sure enough, it went over the head of the third baseman, and I can't remember who was on base, Jackson Merrill, someone scampered home. So just little things like that.
Yeah. And they're so aggressive. Bunts, squeeze. I've never seen in modern day baseball. You ever seen as many squeeze bunts with guys on third?
Well, they had to do that because if Martin Maldonado or, Elias Diaz is up and you got a fast guy on third base, yeah, those guys were just laying down like a safety squeeze. And that made sense. But then other teams started catching on and then they kind of got thrown out a few times.
Yeah, but they're still doing it. They still do it a chunk of times.
Yeah, yeah.
And I sit here myself, I say, everybody's got video of everybody else playing. You're telling me that these teams aren't paying attention to the Padres' history of laying down bunts?
Oh, they're paying attention.
But they're not defending it.
No, they're not. I mean, yeah, they probably don't want to get in too tight. But a couple other comments. First of all, did you see the video, the iPads that the Red Sox had of Suarez? Now, was that legal? I think it should be legal, right? I mean,
well, they got it off Padre TV.
But if you really zoomed in on those pictures, I couldn't really tell the difference. It must have been really subtle.
But they figured it out. At least that's what they say.
The other question I have for you about the Padres roster is, what's your take on Luis Arraez? I mean, there's a lot of people that think that he shouldn't be playing every day, or if he is, he should be batting like 5th or 6th.
He's streaky. He's been more streaky this year than he was last year when he came from the trade Miami. I'll tell you what, nobody's complimented. He really plays an aggressive first base. I think he's gotten better defensively. When they first came from Miami, he was, quote, a man without a position. Could you trust him at first? Could you trust him at second? He plays really hard defensively, and he's still putting the ball in play. And he has some weeks where he's swinging at stuff in another area code that he shouldn't swing at. Yet he gets a bat on the ball, but he's been a little bit more disciplined in terms of his stroke and his swings in the last couple of weeks. So he's a solid player. Hits 298. I don't know what kind of marquee guy he's going to get in terms of offers on the free agent market, but he's made himself a much better first baseman, I think.
I just wish he was taller. Yeah. I mean, there's been a couple of times where the ball gets airmailed a little bit and he just can't reach it,
But I tell you what, he dives for balls and he stretches and he goes face first in the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's played a hell of a lot better first baseman than I thought he was ever capable of playing.
Well, it's interesting, too, because when Cronenworth was playing first base and doing similar things, and we're like, okay, I never really thought about having a middle infielder as a first baseman, because you think of Fred McGriff or, Pete Alonso, those kind of guys.
Yeah, and you want 6'4".
Right. But it's interesting to have an uber athletic guy at first base to see what they can do.
Okay, let's move on here. A couple more social media before we put a lid on this. Okay, and some hacksaw comments from 619 Dano. He goes, shut the F up, Lee. A couple of weeks ago, you were crowning the shitty Dodgers as the National League West champs. This is comedy. No. We're dealing with whatever we're dealing with, what the standings say the day we're doing the podcast. Weeks and weeks ago, the Padres were in a world of hurt. You do remember Tatis hitting 188 for a chunk of time and Manny hitting 219 and all that. We were dealing with it at that point in time. Now, teams gotten better. Teams gotten hot. Teams added personnel. So, therefore, it's a real different team now than it was when I was analyzing where they were at that point. And the Dodgers, they were blazing out of the gate, and then all these injuries beset them. So, geez, don't hold it against me. That's insulting to say STFU. I'm dealing with the topics the day that we're dealing with those topics. 2 weeks from now, the topic may be different because of injuries or trades or whatever. Gee, 619 Dano, I'm sorry. You're going to get picked off. You're going to get picked off or you might get ejected. Come on, give us a break. We really do good sports talk here, don't we?
I think so. Yeah. But it's a funny theme, especially in Instagram, where the first they think you're paid by the Dodgers, then they think you're a Dodger fan. No, he's really a Padre fan. Oh, no, he's been in San Diego forever. But then they get on your case like, 4 weeks ago you were calling for AJ Preller to, he needs to be fired or whatever. And, you're high, you're low, you're all over the place.
Do you think these people will have a heart attack if I show up next week wearing a Padre hat and a Dodger sweatshirt?
Yeah, that might make some people's heads explode.
Move on. Thanks, Dano. Call us again.
Okay, let's talk some Chargers here. And this is with Snoopers. He goes, Joey who? It's Tooley's time.
Well, my concern about Charger football is life after Bosa, life after those two inside defensive tackles. I do think the back seven at linebacker and secondary is spectacular, and it's deep, and they got athletes that can run all night. Now, Thule played really well, but understand, a year and a half that Thule did exceptionally well, he had Bosa and Khalil Mack as part of his running mates. Now it's going to be on Thule to do it all by himself because there is no Joey Bosa. I think he's fine, and I think their linebacking group is really athletic. My biggest concern is they got 8 guys inside a defensive tackle. I don't think any of these 8 guys is equal to Poona Ford or what Morgan Fox gave them defensively up front. And we start playing for real a couple weeks against Kansas City, and I hope that does not become a glaring problem. I mean, right now the statistics are saying, hey, dynamic defense, lots of athletes, etc. It's preseason, but end of the day, you got to be tough up inside. And I don't know that they're tough up inside right now because hardly anybody they got at defensive tackle has ever played a hell of a lot of snaps for them.
Yeah, it's just so hard to be a Charger fan. It's just always something with this team, and now it was Bosa that underperformed, didn't meet expectations.
He's hurt all the time.
Yeah, and now Thule, hopefully he has a chance to shine. By the way, that opening game, we were talking about it last week. It's going to be in Brazil.
On a Friday night.
Yeah, but it's on YouTube TV. I just confirmed that.
Okay.
And they claim that it's free. So I'm curious to see how that breaks down. Is it on YouTube or YouTube TV? Because YouTube TV is kind of like a cable package. So I guess we're going to find out. We'll navigate those waters in a few weeks.
Oh, you got everything here in the castle. We'll just figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Okay, next one.
Okay. This is a good comment. This is about the whole Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns. And this is from Sean. He says, hey, he's not ready, and time may not be on his side with Cleveland. I saw him break the play too much and try to be the guy making a play, but it's not smart approach. When it works, it looks great, and it worked in preseason games, but his oblique injury is coming at a bad time when he is competing for a spot, and another start showing he can do what he just did would help him stick in Cleveland.
Well, he might stick in Cleveland and be on the developmental squad. I don't know what they're going to do. They've got so many injuries. Flacco will be the starter because Kenny Pickett has not practiced yet. I mean, he's been out 3 weeks with hamstring, and Gabriel's been hurt. Now, Gabriel was supposed to practice today, and they're saying Gabriel may play against the Eagles. They wanted Shedeur to play, but now he suffered this oblique injury. He could not throw the ball very well, so he's not going to play this weekend. Shedeur needed games 2 and 3 just to get more reps. It was fascinating to see him. What a phenomenal athlete. And I saw this at Colorado, and I'd seen video of him at Jackson State. He did all that same stuff. But this is the NFL, and you can't get away with what he was doing in the NFL. Once you start playing opening day and you're playing against Pro Bowlers, etc., you get killed, and you're going to turn the ball over a lot. But he just needs lots of reps to grow, and now he's dinged up a bit. If you're asking me, I think he winds up on the developmental squad, but they're going to have to expose him to waivers. You got to get him off the roster. He's got to go through waivers to get him on your developmental squad. So only time will tell. Maybe he doesn't play the next 2 weeks. They just hide him and just spend the year developing him. You can always bring him off developmental, but you got to get him through waivers first.
Yeah, I think there's just too many people that are like, wait and see. This is the NFL. You never know. I mean, I'm glass half full on this guy. I mean, I'd rather have Shedeur Sanders than, Johnny Manziel or, some of these other guys that the Browns have drafted at quarterback. I mean, there's a long list of them over the last 20 years. Yeah. I mean, if I'm a Browns fan, I got to be thrilled. I mean, Flacco is serviceable, but he's not going to get you to the playoffs.
No. And Gabriel played really well in all the OTA workouts, the Oregon quarterback. He's older and more mature, and he's been in a pro offense. But the thing is, he's undersized. And once he got into camp in the regular full speed practices, when they were lining up Dylan Gabriel against Cleveland's number 1, he really struggled. He got overwhelmed with the pass rush, et cetera, because he's smaller stature. I mean, he's 5'10".
No, I thought he was around 6 foot. But you're right. He's not, Ryan Leaf in the pocket or Peyton Manning or anything. But it's cool having a quarterback with the last name Gabriel. Because I think of Roman Gabriel, which was just such an awesome name. Doesn't it? You think they should have statues of Roman Gabriel someplace, right?
I do go off tangents so easily.
I do.
Is that called attention deficit disorder?
Yeah, it might be. It's something.
I feel bad because I wanted to see weeks 2 and 3 with Sanders and just see what kind of progressions he would make, but now he's dinged up.
Yeah, I agree. I want to see more of him.
Thanks, Sean.
Okay, this is an interesting topic, talking about all the sky-high ticket prices in Major League Baseball. This is from Ryan, and he says, Padres are in the luxury business now. Great product and experience with the high price. I had season tickets for the first 2 seasons at Petco Park. Now I'm priced out. Park at the Park, Gallagher Square, used to be $5. Now it's $45. That's $180 for a family of 4. Include parking and food, and it's over $300. I've been to 1 game this season with my son. We left my wife and daughter at home.
Well, people got upset. I wrote a really lengthy column about that about a week ago, my One Man's Opinion column on my website, which is why you should read my website every day, because there's some pretty good journalistic stuff that I do. I even convinced Tim that what I write's pretty good.
It is.
But, I hated to say it, but it's like the Padres are taxing the fans for their loyalty. Product on the field has been spectacular, 5 years running. The investment that Seidler's ownership has made has been absolutely amazing. We haven't been to a World Series yet, but man, there's a lid as to how much higher you can go. And they've raised their ticket prices 57% in 5 years. I mean, now you can rationalize, well, they're doing it with the Rams, they're doing it with the Chargers, they're doing it with the Lakers. I guess I understand that, but there's a lot of people can't afford to go to there. And I've gone there. I've taken my wife there. It's like a $300 night. Jeez. And I love baseball. I'm a baseball junkie, but how many times can an average fan do that? So, and once those prices get to this level, I'll guarantee you those prices are not coming back. I credit the Padres for creative genius. I think what Grupner and other executives have done at Petco Park had just made it a meeting place, an events place. It's just spectacular. But at the end of the day, how much more can you squeeze out of this population? And like I say, I'm almost to the point of being offended. 57% pay high or ticket price hike in 5 years. That's an enormous amount of money.
Well, everything's going up, man. I mean, it's not just sports, it's real estate, it's groceries, it's everything, and so I'm not offended by this. I think it's just the natural course of how this whole thing's unfolding. If we were still with the Padres roster from 2016, they wouldn't be getting these kind of fans. Mm-hmm. I mean, it'd be a totally different picture. But the comment on this that was interesting to me was about Gallagher Square. Because remember in the beginning, it was Park in the Park. And it was like $5. I remember that. It was like standing room only, $5. And I thought, well, that's kind of a cool thing, And I was thinking, I don't know if I've ever heard of that in any professional sports venue where they would have a inexpensive seat and actually an inexpensive ticket, but with no seat.
Yeah, to sit and watch it on the big screen.
That's cool. I mean, that was a great innovation. Yeah,
but when you rocket the prices up now just to be out there outside the yard,
they don't have any trouble selling them
right now.
And it's interesting is this for the rich? Remember, back in the day, I go to ball games and there would be like always some of these old timers that were longtime season ticket holders. They'd sit in that first bowl, they'd keep score, they bring their lunch with them, these old school baseball fans. Yep. I kind of wonder, do those guys still exist? Because the crowds are so enormous, it's expensive. Maybe it's just easier to stay at home on the couch and keep score.
I think the demographic of Padre baseball has gotten very different, very much younger and very much more affluent to pay the price.
Well, yeah,
exactly. But the product's been great. And I credit them for creative genius. They've done so many phenomenal things. I mean, Mr. Redneck here is going to see the rodeo at the ballpark, and he wants to go down there at Christmas when they're shooting the golf balls off the upper deck. So, I mean, they've done some really neat things. So I credit them for creative genius to do additional revenue streams. But man, this price hike to me went, oh, that's a little steep for me. And again, I have an opinion on everything.
You do.
You buy it, great. If you don't buy it, that's okay too.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm entitled. Hey, thanks for being with us. Hey, listen, we hope you've enjoyed this podcast. We do sports talk the way it should be done, put a lot of topics on the table. We do express opinions, and then we invite you to join us in the fans forum. Tell everybody who we are. We're here Mondays and Thursdays at 1:30. You can help us a great deal. Give us a thumbs up, hit the follow button. Want you to subscribe and share. John, have yourself a great sports weekend. Enjoy. Is it Friday night yet? Game time yet?
Yeah, no, it's not. And what are we going to do tonight, Thursday night? There's no football on Thursday now.
No, there's Aztec Red Black scrimmage.
Okay, yeah.
So we got that to cover. But We'll be back Monday at 1:30, and we will review all things from the great sports weekend. Thanks for being with us. Always great to have you part of Hacksaw's Headlines.
Join us again for Hacksaw's Headlines on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. And find the audio version on your favorite podcast apps. For more content, go to LeeHacksawHamilton.com.